What is up, guys? My name is Matt from Magic the Greatening, and today I'm going to be going over some of the spoilers that just got spoiled yesterday or last night. The ones that I found interesting and kind of going into detail. I really like... Okay, so they're ending the Oath of the Gatewatch planeswalkers. You have Gideons Defeat, Jace's Defeat, Liliana, Chandra, Nissa's Defeat. All 5 of those cards released. I don't think they'll see any standard play, except maybe Liliana's Defeat, maybe like a 1 of or 2 of in a sideboard, because it just says destroy target black creature or black planeswalker for 1 mana, which is very kind of good against zombies, or like maybe a black-white token deck, or maybe not even that, but really anything that just is mono-black, like the zombies deck. I think that's honestly, it probably won't get any play, like, to be straight up honest. But it's probably the best of the 5. They're mostly in there just for flavor, and their flavor texts are pretty freaking amazing. We're going to go through each one here. Gideon's Defeat. Gideon, how easy it must be to play the Protector when you think yourself untouchable. How wrong you are. Wizards of the Coast really went in on these planeswalkers. You know, you had the Nicol Bolas arch enemy little game that came out, the little box. That's $60, just came out a few days ago. And where it's Gideon, Nissa, and Chandra trying to beat Nicol Bolas. And now we have these awesome flavor texts on these cards. Jace has said, I had hoped for more from you, Jace, but I expected as much. Liliana's translated roughly, you played yourself. You played yourself. Chandra's translated roughly says, fire, is that your only trick? Chandra. And Nissa's, roughly translated, says, Nissa, the soul of the world is dead, but I'll probably take joy in killing it again. So some pretty badass, if I say so myself, flavor text for these defeat cards. Again, not going to see much play. We found 2 more Wrath cards. More Wrath cards like we need it. You know, we already have things like Fumigate and Sweltering Suns, but now we have 3 sort of Wrath cards, and not even Dusk Till Dawn's a Wrath card. Like, Hour of Revelation and Grind to Dust are the 2 new Wrath cards that were released. Hour of Revelation, honestly, is probably one of the best Wraths that you're going to see in Standard, maybe for a long time, because for 6 mana, 3 and 2 white, or 3 and 3 white, it says destroy all non-land permanents. Yep, that's just really strong. Will it see play over Fumigate? Possibly. It possibly might, because this destroys planeswalkers and artifacts, which are huge right now in this format, at least in Standard. And things like Commander, it'll be really good, because it'll cost 3 less when there's 10 or more non-land permanents, which is not that hard when you're playing with 4 players. And it destroys everything, which in Commander is very, very relevant. Grind to Dusk is more of a standard card and kind of a deck you need to build around. So the first part, Grind, is 1 and a black. Put a -1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. It's pretty good. Kind of like Splendid Agony, like the little brother of Splendid Agony. But Dust is the sweeper part, and it says, exile any number of target creatures that have -1 counters on them. That is really, really strong, especially if Archfiend of Ifnir out. Like this plus Archfiend of Ifnir is a 4 mana one-sided Wrath. Like, that's just, like, so powerful. But yeah, so outside of that, you know, obviously you're going to splash white in a -1 counter deck. Some people, we're going to get to the Scorpion God here in a second. I know a lot of people have been talking about it. But maybe a 4-color -1 counter deck, you know, can't be budget. But let's get to the Scorpion God, because that's really interesting. And it's one of the gods that, it's the only god, I think, that's not indestructible. So for 3, a black and a red, whenever a creature with a -1 counter on it dies, draw a card. Okay, that's pretty good. You pay 1, a black and a red, put a -1 counter on another target creature. Okay. And it says when the Scorpion God dies, return it to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. So instead of having indestructible, it just returns to your hand. And I'm not sure I like that more. Obviously, it'll always be a creature. A 5 mana, 6/5 creature. No hoops to jump through. That's pretty good in itself. But most of the time, you know, when you're playing a Gods deck, people sideboard things in like Stasis Snare, Declaration in Stone, Anguish Unmaking, anything that cast out. You know, there's a whole bunch of things that exile things in Standard, and the Scorpion God can just get exiled and it won't return to your hand. So it's a very, very strong card, but I don't know if it'll see any standard play. I just think it's too slow of a card. It might be a fun card to make a deck around. I see when this set releases it being like $10, so it'll probably drop down to about $1.50, $2. I don't see it being that good. All right, so we only have 2 more things to talk about, and that's going to be Eternalize and some desert lands here. They also released some of the Planeswalkers set, Planeswalkers, but no one really cares about those, even though they're standard legal. So we're going to talk about Eternalize. So Eternalize is Embalm. It is literally Embalm, except the token creature comes back as a 4/4, which is really, really strong, especially since we saw Adorned Pouncer, which is a 2-mana 1/1 double strike that has Eternalize for 3 and 2 white. So you Eternalize it, and it comes back as a 4/4 double strike. It's like even if you discard this card and Eternalize it, you're still getting insane value. Like a 5-mana 4/4 double strike is insane. Outside of that, I really want to see some of the other Eternalized cards. We'll probably see more when the rest of the set gets spoiled. Nothing much really more to say about that other than I think it's really, really strong, especially on things that have like double strike or lifelink. You know, just getting extra value out of creatures is always nice. They released 2 more desert lands that cycle. So now we have the bicycle lands, and now we have the monocolored lands that can cycle. Fortunately, it's 2 mana to cycle these lands. So you have like Desert of the Indomitable and Desert of the Fervent that are 1 in a green to cycle and 1 in a red to cycle, and they enter the battlefield tapped. However, we're starting to see some cards that have to do with deserts. Things like Desert's Hold. You know, when Desert Hold enters the battlefield, if you control a desert, or there is a desert card in your graveyard, you gain 3 life. You know, and just those, you know, the last set there was a few things with deserts. Things like Sand Strangler. When Sand Strangler enters the battlefield, if you control a desert, or there's a desert card in your graveyard, you may have Sand Strangler deal 3 damage to target creature. That's pretty strong in a desert deck. A 4-mana 3/3 guy that deals 3 damage when he comes out is very, very strong. We had Sidewinder Naga. As long as you control a desert or is a desert card in your graveyard, he gets +1/0 and trample. That's not as strong. Gideons Defeat also has, you know, we're going to probably see a whole bunch of good cards dealing with deserts. So I'm going to be kind of excited to make a desert deck. And it kind of will go well with a Ruminant Excavator because you can play lands from your graveyard. So you can just like cycle these desert lands. Or, you know, the ones that were released in Amonkhet, you know, you sacrifice them, you create a zombie or put a -1 counter on a guy, and then you just replay it from the grave with Ruminant Excavator. It'll be very interesting what type of decks people can make with these desert cards. I'm very, very excited about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I know this is a different video. I usually just make deck techs and all this stuff. But I do get very excited when it comes to spoiler season because I just see all these new cards and I just want to immediately start making decks about them. But I haven't even finished making decks for Amonkhet yet, so it'll be very, very exciting when this deck releases. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.